Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to a live edition of Extra Point. We've even got the door open today because guys are going to be coming in. This is our first kind of live podcast for the year, and this is for all you guys who were just clamoring everywhere we go. I know everywhere I went, and everybody missed the radio show. So here we are. We figured for the first weekend of the playoffs, at least the first night of the playoffs, we would have a live podcast where you can comment. You can go to our Facebook Live or on YouTube Live, and you can comment to us, and if you want to talk about particular matchups or for next week or games from tonight, we can discuss that. Matt Mowery will be here in just a few moments. Scott Burnstein was working the Clarkston game, so he will be here in just a little bit. He had to file his story for the Oakland Press before he made his way over here. So Kevin Trzynski is, you can't see him right now, but he's there. He's kind of manning the whole, live thing. How you doing, Kev?
I'm here. I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, good. He was waiting for us. We were getting ready to get back here, so I'll give you a quick just kind of capsule of where I was. I was at what was our main event for State Champs this week, and again, State Champs airs every Sunday, 9 a.m. on Fox Sports Detroit. I can tell you this, it's the Halloween edition of State Champs is always a different kind of edition of State Champs, and this particular year, we decided for the Michigan show, we would go to a haunted house. We've done this in the past. We went to the Azra Chamber of Horrors in Madison Heights, and they did us all up in makeup. I looked like a casualty of war that turned into a zombie that was basically now hosting State Champs. And we had Kira Hay, who was kind of a sadistic clown. That's how she was transformed. And Jenna Skalski, who is our newest member of State Champs, who's going to be joining us from time to time on the show. She was some, like, red-faced witch, I guess is the best thing I could describe of what she was. She wasn't alive any longer, let's put it that way. So it was fun anyway. So the whole show will be coming from there, so it'll be trippy and all of that. But that's not why you're here. You want to hear about high school football. I'm pretty good at stalling. I can do that.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I can talk. I can ramble. But
okay.
I'll tell you the game I was at. Again, our main event this week, Detroit Catholic Central and Canton. Now, going into this particular matchup, I expected that we were going to get a shootout. I was expecting we were going to have a game that was going to go back and forth, that either defenses were going to really clamor and shut down on both sides, or it was going to be kind of one of those wild West shootouts. Well, it was kind of like that on one side, on the Catholic Central side. They scored 49 points tonight in a 49-28 win. And 49-28 is really not indicative of what the real outcome was. It was 49-14 after 3 quarters. So Catholic Central turned it on, poured it on, and really looked as if they are in great playoff shape. A couple of notes that I can tell you from the event, and again, when you're shooting, we can't get a lot of all the details, but I can tell you that Marco Genrich, the quarterback at Detroit Catholic Central, had a couple of touchdown passes. He really was the field general in this particular game, controlling the offense. Defense played well. I gave my notes to John, and I forgot to save a copy for me. So I don't have exactly the other numbers. And one of the kids had 4 touchdowns for CC, one of their running backs, the junior. And they had a 70-yard scoop and score, fumble recovery. I think it was Walker who fumbled, Stevie Walker, for Canton. Stevie Walker, in the first half was amazing. Was keeping Canton close. Had I believe it was about a 65-yard touchdown run. Just kind of burst right through the line of scrimmage and took care of business. He had over 100 yards in the first half. He ended up with over 200 yards in the game.
That's pretty impressive.
Oh,
over a CC team who does pretty well over against the run.
Yeah, it is. And this kid was running over 300 yards in almost every one of his games lately. That's why he's a Mr. Football candidate, and he had been proving it. And again, just super fast. He had 3 touchdowns on the night, but again, I believe 2 of those were some of the late scores in the fourth quarter that were basically garbage time for all intents and purposes. But again, CC looked good. They were marching up and down the field. Nobody got hurt tonight. Genrich, again, the quarterback who has had some injury issues, was fine. And they win tonight, 49-28. So we'll kind of get into a few of these scores. In their same region, it was West Bloomfield and Plymouth getting together. West Bloomfield wins 49-14 in that one. Dominant performance by West Bloomfield. Plymouth this year had kind of been hot and cold, kind of up and down. Did get their 6 wins, did get in the playoffs, but West Bloomfield tonight with a statement. So West Bloomfield and Catholic Central both score 49 points, and they will now meet next week in the district final. In that same region, Belleville and Dearborn got together. It was Belleville at home winning pretty handily, 28-7. Monroe put up 62 on Woodhaven and won 62-28. Monroe's an interesting team. We've had, hey, come on in. Come on in. The water's fine. Matt Mowery now joining us here from his game, which actually was a very interesting game because barn burner, because we were talking a little bit when we were choosing what we wanted to cover this week, because Matt is always of the opinion that, well, if you guys are doing something on TV, I'll do something different for the website so we can get, a broad range of cuts, much coverage we can. And we said, well, what a great story Dexter has been this year, right? They got to the play. We'll kind of explain what their story is and how tonight played out.
If you can be a better story than South Lyon is this year,
right,
being 10-0,
yeah,
after being
right,
1-8 last year,
crazy,
you're a good story. 42-game losing skid they were on until week 2 of the season when they finally snapped it. It was dated back 4 seasons.
Let's just get that a little to you there.
Yeah,
there we go. There we go.
Dated back 4
Fans
seasons,
want to hear you.
And they were. That's when they really started to believe. They beat Ipsy, and then they ended up going 6-3, finished second in their conference, I believe. At least they were second a couple weeks ago when I looked last. Yeah, that's Jeff Henson, who we're hopefully going to have on later, the South Lyon coach.
Yep.
Was talking
the
about
monitor just went out. Yep, that's all right. It's all right. We're live, man. So this is guerrilla radio, and we're going to have Dan Anderson on later too. I talked to him, so he's going to be on. So. Good.
Yeah, Jeff Henson was saying that the 2 teams met up in 7-on-7s, and coming off a 1-8 season for South Lyon, and Dexter was coming off a 3rd straight 0-9 season. I don't think anybody had the expectations that they would meet again the first week of the playoffs, let alone have it be, a game of this magnitude where South Lyon hasn't had a season like this since. I think 1995 was the last 10-0 season. Dexter has never had a season like this. They have never made the playoffs.
Yeah.
And as we were talking about it with their coaching staff, kids are proud of their football team at Dexter for maybe the first time ever.
Right.
This program has even when you look back, they've had some seasons where they've had winning records, but never made the playoffs until this season. So amazing. Just making it in was a huge step for them. But they were right there. They could have won this game.
Right.
Against a 9-0 South Lyon team that won their conference.
That they would have a great game, too, in this kind of a situation.
Absolutely.
That's really cool, for fans.
Yeah, you would hate to see them, get in and just be like, oh, well, we were just happy to be here. We got the T-shirt and everything and go home.
Right.
They had a chance. I mean, South Lyon kicked a field goal to go up 17-14. Dexter returns the ensuing kickoff, 95 yards for a touchdown. South Lyon comes back and regains the lead on a Connor Fracassi touchdown pass. I think he threw 3 in the game.
Right.
Maybe 4. I'd have to go back and look.
I know. I don't have all
at this
my
point, math is eluding me.
Yeah.
So then Dexter comes right back and ties it up, kicks a field goal to tie it up. And South Lyon actually had a chance to win it in regulation and missed a field goal with 16 seconds left. Go to overtime, score in the first overtime period, and then they intercept a Dexter pass in the end zone in the in Dexter's half of the overtime period to seal it, so it ended up being 31-24. But it was a heck of a game back and forth, and as South Lyon coach Jeff Henson said, Dexter had them on their heels for a lot of that game.
Yeah.
So it was not like this was, there was one fluky play right before the half that was kind of one where you're just like, maybe the luck is on their side. I think it was 40, 50 yards downfield, long pass play, the safety comes up and hits the intended receiver, perfect timing. Ball hits somebody's helmet and pops straight up in the air about 20 yards up in the air, and the receiver who was trailing the play just runs underneath it, catches it, and skips on into the end zone for a 70-yard, touchdown. And at that point, South Lyon had actually was, trying to grind the clock down as far as they could to not give, Dexter any time. And I don't think Dexter was thinking anything other than let's take a shot at it. And almost it worked out perfectly.
Since you were kind of doing some research and figuring out what kind of story Dexter's, what do you think some of the reasons for this turnaround are? Because it really is striking when you consider, really since 2012, this team has just been in the doghouse, and all of a sudden this year they get 6 wins.
Well, obviously, one of the things that we talked about after the game was that the senior class that has kind of persevered through all of this, and those kids kept coming back for more and more. They stuck it out, and that
they didn't
kind
have
of
a single
set the
win into this year. Yeah.
So they stuck it out, and that kind of set the example for everybody else in the program. But the other part, and this was kind of echoed on both sidelines when we were talking about it with the players and the coaches, just believing. And that belief that, okay, we belong in this field with these teams. They were right in it with Chelsea too. One of the regular season losses they had, and that's one that's been a bugaboo for them over the year. It was just once they finally got that monkey off their back, once they finally snapped that losing streak, and they finally believed that they could do this. That's when it turned, and it was kind of the same thing for South Lyon. Once South Lyons, those kids, kind of got their teeth kicked in last year in a 1-8 season. They were giving up 30 points a game and not scoring very much, and a lot of young kids played last year. And once those kids believed that this wasn't going to be like last year when they were 1-8, that belief carried them a long way. It's not, neither of these teams are the most incredibly talented. Not a bunch of 5 stars on either sidelines. Just a bunch of kids who, buy in and believe. And that in high school sports, a lot of times is just as effective as the, mega recruited megastars that are on some teams that aren't playing today.
There it is. So, again, great story. Great game. So that one ended up going to overtime. I don't think we had a couple of overtimes. So now Midland down. Flushing went to overtime.
Really?
34-31. Dow won that one.
Nice.
So Dow
that's kind of
sneaks
in 5-4.
Midland beat Swartz Creek 50-28.
And now we get Midland Dow too.
Yes.
It seems like almost every time they've been in the playoffs the same time, they've kind of been, at least had a possibility of getting. There have been a couple of times where they were in different divisions because Midland, tends to be a little one up from Dow sometimes.
Yeah.
So, that'll be fun.
Yeah. So, some interesting things, just as, we're kind of just getting into what happened tonight. Rockford beat Traverse City West, which, again, Rockford has had an up and down season, and, that's not too much of a surprise. Hudsonville over Holland West Ottawa, 49-42, had a great game. We've got a couple of Saturday games in the Kalamazoo, Central Saline, Brighton, East Kentwood, but Lapeer blanks Grand Blanc, 35-0. Lapeer's for real, undefeated lookout. Yep. Oxford whoops up on Davison, 38-13.
Yep.
So Oxford is really been peaking at the end of the year, really ever since they beat Clarkston.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a great matchup, I think, Oxford and Lapeer next week. That'll be solid. Clarkston over Lake Orion, 30-7. That was where Scott Burnstein was. He'll be here shortly. He's driving here. Lakeland over Adams in overtime, 23-20. Again, that was one of those toss-ups that I think we we could have expected either team to win. Lakeland should give Clarkson a pretty good matchup. They're going to feel good after this win tonight. West Bloomfield over Plymouth big, 49-14. The game I was at, Catholic Central rolls Canton 49-28. Wasn't even that close. It was really Catholic Central imposing their will for the most part, and then defensively really stepping up. Even though Stevie Walker had over a couple of 100 yards, he did have 3 TDs, 2 or most of them were late after they were down 49-14. It was really all Catholic Central playing very well. Belleville beats Dearborn 28-7. Monroe really beats Woodhaven 62-28. So Belleville and Monroe next week. Monroe's been putting up a lot of points this year. We've had their fans talking to us, telling us that the Trojan Army is for real. They were begging for us to come out when they played Bedford. We did. They won. But they're going to have their hands full with Belleville. But we'll see. This will be interesting to see, again, Belleville being in the KLAA this year. How well did that prepare them for a run in the playoffs? The bottom of this bracket is really where it's strong. Chip Valley beats Ike 34-7 tonight. Dakota beats Romeo 21-17. I wasn't expecting that, but I knew it was going to be one of those either way.
Yeah. That was a close one.
Cass and Western International play tomorrow. We know what has happened there. Grosse Pointe South was beating Dearborn Fortson 17-3 into the fourth. And they came back, and Fortson came back and won. So the Tractors are continuing to roll, but it'll be most likely Tractors and Cass Tech next week. Should be an interesting matchup. And then you've got Chip Valley Dakota again, and then most likely we'll have Chip and Cass for that regional final. And then Belleville, winner of Catholic Central West Bloomfield, which, again, both teams score 49 tonight. That's going to be an interesting matchup. Is West Bloomfield ready to take that next step again, after last year? Are they ready to move forward? Is Catholic Central ready to put themselves back in a position where they feel comfortable? It's really, after Clarkston, gets by, let's say, Lapeer or Oxford, let's just kind of prognosticate ahead, besides maybe East Kentwood or maybe Saline, they're going to have a pretty clear path to Ford Field.
And that's not going to be easy getting past Lapeer, because as you mentioned earlier, that Lapeer defense is for real.
Yeah.
And that Lapeer offense is versatile, and they have a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that benefited them is they're kind of in that corner where, they're away from the main population centers and they're away from the main media centers. So they fly under the radar a lot. Now, they've had their troubles with OAA teams in the past, specifically with Clarkston, so that's not guaranteeing anything. But one of these years, they're going to get past that OAA jinx that's been kind of the bugaboo since they combined.
And again,
East and West.
They're catching an Oxford team who's feeling really good, but it's going to be in their house.
Yeah.
And that's the huge thing there. So, but again, in Division I, it's always a grind.
It's a mess always.
It is, and you're never going to be able to count on the weather. I know I just kind of read all of the Division I scores, but since they're here, we'll kind of roll through it here. And Kevin, if you see any interesting comments we need to address, you just let me know.
Will do.
Mona Shores had a battle with Forest Hill Central. 34-28 was the final. I thought that one was going to be a lot more wide open, but they win. Okemos beats Jackson 31-22, which
the end of the run for Jackson.
Exactly.
Good story.
Yeah, real good story, and that surprised me. But again, we're sleeping on Okemos, I think, is what was happening.
Also, and that was part of the reason that we talked about that earlier in the season, kind of that Jackson had moved away from those Lansing area teams where they'd had such a struggle for so long, and into the Southeast Conference, and we weren't sure, kind of when we're stacking those two up against each other, the CAC and the SEC, how they ranked. Well, I guess this kind of shows us, because Okemos, I think, was third, maybe in the CAC Blue.
Yeah, they were 6-3.
Yep.
And they had a run there where, they beat Everett and Ledge and Waverly and Menominee and Holt, and they had that run. Lost to East Lansing only by 3 though. And then, and that was and then tonight in the playoffs they get their win. So good on Okemos. They're going to play Portage Northern, who beat up on Central, and surprising. I think most of us took Central. I think it was maybe John in our predictions who took Northern. So good on them. Down Flushing, we talked about that already, and we talked about yours. Walled Lake Western beat up on Fenton. Yep. Fenton's a team that, after what I saw them do to Swartz Creek, I felt like, wow, maybe Fenton here is for real, because I didn't know if they were going to be players at all this year. But the way they kind of were playing at the end of the season and the way Walled Lake Western, it seemed like was just a mess. It looks like they got together here.
The Walled Lake Western team had.
Yeah.
And it was just a matter of getting it to mesh and getting it to getting it to come all together at the same time. I thought it was interesting that the entire night, and for obvious reasons, a lot of times when you're at a playoff game, they'll be, they'll be updating the score from the other side of the bracket.
Yeah.
They weren't. They were updating the score from East and Brandon all night long, and it was interesting to listen, because there were some groans because East is the rival, but I think there was a genuine happiness when they announced the final score, because East won that game, right?
South Lyon East?
Yes.
Oh, they're in what, Division
3? 3.
I'll pull it up. You got ahead of me.
All right,
there.
Since you're looking that up,
go ahead.
We got a inquiry about Breckenridge.
Breckenridge.
D8. What do you think about them this year?
All right. Well, that's.
I think I know where Breckenridge is.
Yeah. Let me. I got.
I have not seen the Huskies play this year, and the Huskies.
They're playing tomorrow. So Frankfurt and Breckenridge are getting together tomorrow.
Gotcha.
1 o'clock game. So they're 9-0.
Yep.
Taking on a Frankfurt team that's 5-4, a team that kind of just got in. Yeah, we're talking D8 football here, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again,
that Mount Pleasant area has got Mount Pleasant, which is unbeaten.
Yeah.
Alma, which has 1 loss.
Yeah.
Ithaca, which has 1 loss. Breckenridge, which was undefeated.
Yeah.
And Clare, which had 1 loss.
Yeah. Breckenridge has been a beast.
Yeah.
So now, looking at their scores now, 41-0, 51-0, 61-0, 36-0. The Vesterberg had to forfeit. 30-12, 19-0, 45-0. They had a 2019 win over Beaverton to open the season, and it's been all just beast mode since then.
Right, and Beaverton ended up being one of the co-champs in the Jack Pine, I believe.
Right.
So
I like them. To answer your question, I like them.
And Breckenridge has really benefited when a lot of the old Central State teams went to the Tri-Valley Conference with Ithaca and St. Louis, so forth, and they were left and they ended up joining the MSAC, I believe, and that's been a good fit for them, especially as their population has dwindled, because good 15 years ago they were a B school and now they're down to Division 8. So as that population has kind of dropped precipitously over the last decade and a half, they've really found a fit for themselves in the mid-state activities conference, I believe is what it is.
Yeah.
Carson City Crystal was right there with them, I believe, in the MSAC, and I think that loss was Carson's only loss, maybe?
Yeah. South Lyon East won tonight, 22-15 over Ortonville Brandon. Yeah.
All right.
I saw a crazy score I just want to throw out there. And I'm giving props to them because we went to cover them not too long ago, and that's St. Clair. Mm-hmm. They put up 70 tonight on Yale, 70-34. They're going to take on North Branch, who beat Croswell Lexington 44-41 tonight.
Yale to college.
So yeah, exactly. So St. Clair, man. Shout outs to the Saints. That whole area right there is they're just not going to get love. Great baseball. We're always going to talk St. Clair when it comes to some of the spring sports and things like that. St. Clair Lakeshore went down tonight to Port Huron Northern. Port Huron Northern, another team, their fans have been coming out big this season, telling that we need to give the Huskies love.
And that's one of those defensive teams we've talked about a little bit on the last couple of weeks, with Grosse Pointe South and De La Salle and those kind of teams that kind of win in close to the vest games, so they're not putting up the gaudy numbers, but a defense that's very, very, very stingy.
Yeah,
and that's kind of been how they've been winning.
And Lakeview and Roseville had a battle. Lakeview won 41-32. So Lakeview and Northern next week. That's good. Lakeview, one of those schools that just is typically always strong.
Yep.
Just real strong. What'd you have to say, Kev?
No, I'm just looking at some of these scores.
Yeah.
And there's a couple OT games that have really caught my eye, and some of them are right here up in the mid-Michigan area.
Sure.
That that I've been looking at here. We got, where is it? Wayne Ames, Reed City. Reed City, I believe, won. They blew out their competition. They shut them out. I'm looking for the score
42-0 over Benzie Central.
Yep, that's correct.
Yep.
That is correct.
We talked Reed City on the podcast a little bit earlier. They had a couple big games going on. Yeah, D5, Catholic and Olivet went to the wire. 22-21 Lansing Catholic wins. That is a team that I think is going to be a force still to be reckoned with. You know, they're going to take on a good Portland team who beat Ovid LC 33-19. That D5 is interesting. There was a lot of trickle-down effect. There's a lot of good teams, and I think we're going to have a lot of really good games. There might have been a couple blowouts tonight. I'm really shocked that we covered the Harper Woods Macomb Lutheran North game tonight because the Lutheran North people, I'll give them credit, they were hit as hard that they were for real. But I think we're now going to see how good Harper Woods is.
Yeah.
They win 52-13 in that one, and Harper Woods is a team that I think took a season for them to really get together here. One of the shockers is the other game we're going to have on State Champs, and that was the fact that King and River Rouge 7-6. Defensive battle, and the fact that Detroit King back-to-back weeks scores 8 and 7 points respectively.
That's
There's something
high-scoring offense.
Yeah,
there might be one of those situations where the tape is out on a certain thing or a certain, you know, scheme that they've got going that was so effective early in the season, and whatever, you know, that's one of those piggyback things that whatever Cass was able to do to them, maybe River Rouge was able to do to them as well. To slow them down. And obviously it helps that River Rouge had that defense with the two big defensive ends particularly that were able to kind of probably set a picket fence a little bit on the edges.
Right. But, I mean, you know, again, King's going to have to put more points on the board if they're going to expect to get as far as they want to go, and that is the state finals. And so it will be interesting to see how that thing plays out moving forward. If we talk in Mr. Football race, Cameron Martinez had 295 yards again tonight. He is clearly above and beyond everybody else right now. I mean, obviously, we're going to see a lot in these next few weeks. And Muskegon actually had a little bit of a scare tonight. I mean, this was not a blowout. Their score.
Well, East Grand Rapids did that to them early in the season, if you remember.
Yeah, exactly. Great rivalry, great team. You know, great program. They're always going to play to the end, but.
Yeah, we haven't sent the trophy out for engraving, but we made sure the engraver knows how to spell Cameron.
Yes, exactly. 42-35 was the final in that one in Division III action. Zeeland East all over Lakeshore, Stevensville Lakeshore, 56-7. They're going to take most likely will play Zeeland West again, which was a great game just a couple of weeks ago. We had those highlights on State Champs if you want to check it out. As we're kind of skimming through, DeWitt continues to roll.
That's a machine.
And they're going to take in East Lansing now, which was a team that started out really great, kind of had a little bit of some work to do. That looks like they have righted the ship. They win tonight, and it's always nice when you can grind one out early. I'm not really particularly familiar too much with Hazlitt and how good they were this year, but I saw East Lansing in week 1 against Divine Child, and they look great. They got a great running game, a great running back. But DeWitt right now looks like they really are a team that is a force to be reckoned with. At the bottom of the bracket, we're going to have another good game between Trenton and Allen Park next week. Those two are going to get together to take on, Woods Tower all over Garden City, 47-7. I believe that's where their run will end as they face King next week. But you never know. If King doesn't put up more than 7 points, somebody's going to sneak up and beat them. So we'll have to see how that plays out moving forward.
Well, here's a good second week matchup between two very, very good defenses in Mount Pleasant and Cedar Springs.
Yes.
Could be a 3-0 game. This is 3-2 like last 2 years.
Yeah. Let's hope not.
Nah. But those are two teams that are very much predicated. Now both of them had, opponents that were, I believe they both had 5-4 opponents this week. In Petoskey and Gaylord.
Yeah.
So so the scores are a little lopsided, but neither of these teams have really been, run up the score kind of teams. They've been very much predicated on their defenses, and
Yeah.
And so that should be a good defensive matchup next week.
I did get a text that we're going to have Detroit Catholic Central head coach Dan Anderson on at 11:30. So we'll send him the link that he can join. So he might even be able to join his video. So he's going to use his phone, and we'll see how it works. I do want to shout out Chelsea tonight, who beats Grosse Ile. Grosse Ile was a team that was playing as good as anyone in that particular in Division 4 and winning their league. Milan blanked Detroit Coder tonight 36-0. So Milan and Chelsea will get together next week for the district championship. That's going to be interesting. Country Day all over center line tonight. We're talking Division 4. I already mentioned St. Clair and what they did. Powers Catholic beat Lake Odessa Lakewood. Good win. Williamson over Goodrich. So it looked like it was a great game, 35-28. Paw Paw over Three Rivers. Edwardsburg does what Edwardsburg does. They blank Plainwell 45-0. I see Edwardsburg probably rolling all the way to the state finals. We'll see. South Christian's going to want to have a hand in that. They beat Godwin Heights. Holland Christian beat Otsego really big, 53-13. Grand Rapids Catholic Central again playing Grand Rapids CC football, beating Spring Lake 59-7. And Whitehall over Allendale 38-33. We had some really close games and some really good games. But and Alma over Big Rapids tonight. They'll pick on the winner of Leadington and Escanaba tomorrow. So that'll be interesting.
I think maybe that Paw Paw Three Rivers, I think we were all kind of envisioning after Edwardsburg beat Three Rivers in the regular season that we would kind of end up having them meet again in the playoffs like this happened. Yeah, that's not happening because Paw Paw took care of that. So.
All right, well, we're just getting started here on the Extra Point Podcast. We got another hour to go, and again, this is just what we wanted to do. We said we were going to do something live, something that you guys could interact with us. We are getting comments. We're on Facebook Live. We're on YouTube Live. So a lot of stuff coming out now, and we'll kind of react to some of the stuff that you guys are talking about. We'll answer some of your questions. We're going to take a break and just kind of look at and see where we are. But again, thank you guys for participating. I know you guys are fired up. It's week 1 of the football playoffs. Great stuff. Remember, state champs will air this Sunday at 9 a.m., a very spooky edition, a Halloween edition, and it should be a lot of fun. So we'll be back. We're just going to take a quick timeout, and we'll be back, and we'll talk more about what's happening in the first round of the MHSAA playoffs. Scott Burnstein will be joining us here in a few minutes. We're going to kind of talk a little bit about Hungry Howie's Mr. Football as well. So stick with us. We'll be back.
I want to be a dermatologist, and though a lot of universities tried to recruit me for basketball, Lawrence Tech had the science curriculum that I wanted. LTU's Southfield campus is a great place to learn, and the classes are small enough that I don't have to wait for office hours to talk to my professors. They're usually right by my side, challenging me and guiding me toward a successful future. Lawrence Tech. Possible is everything.
Today we'd like to talk to you about the MHSAA's Legacy Officiating Program.
The Legacy Officials Program gives high school students their first taste of officiating, helping them literally earn their stripes working junior high, middle school, and sub-varsity contests. All Legacy officials have a local sponsor, a mentor, a veteran official who helps arrange games and observes and critiques their work. Legacy officials learn about the time it takes to study, practice, improve their officiating skills, and about the time commitment their adult counterparts put into their work. The program helps them better understand the rules of the game, the role of officials, and the importance of sportsmanship.
Nice job, number 12. Thanks.
It's also not a bad way for a high school kid to earn a little money. Every year, Legacy officials are honored at the MHSAA's annual Officials Awards and Alumni Banquet, where one graduating senior is awarded a modest college scholarship. Since its inception, nearly 2,000 students have taken part in the Legacy program, with between 100 and 150 participants in any given year, and we can always use more.
To learn more about the MHSAA's Legacy Officiating Program, or to become a game official, visit MHSAA.com.
There's help wanted, just whistle. I ordered 2 large Howie Mauis with butter cheese crust.
Wow, you are one serious breast cancer awareness supporter.
Warrior for love, hope, and pizza. Can't seem to reach my wallet.
Flavor fanatics love us because for every pizza sold in October, a portion goes to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. Now get a medium one-topping pizza for $1 when you buy a large one-topping pizza at regular menu price.
Hungry?
Howie's!
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Extra Point Live. It is the first weekend, the first night of the Michigan High School football playoffs. I can't believe we're here already. It's insane that we are already talking playoffs. Team seasons are already done. But I know that you guys, Matt Mowery's here with us, and Scott Burnstein will be here in a little bit. I do want to kind of talk a little bit about you guys, on Facebook Live. You guys are commenting and stuff. I'll just randomly look at some of the comments. Tyler Jewell, you ask, who do you think is going to win the D1 championship? So that's an interesting question because, again, we talked a little bit earlier in the podcast about what kind of a gauntlet you're going to have to run. I saw Cass Tech last week completely beat. Hey, what's up? Here he is, Scott Burnstein, ladies and gentlemen. All right, welcome to the show. I saw Cass Tech completely dominate King last week. Right. I felt they're clicking on all cylinders. We're talking. The question we're having right now is that one of the causes who has got kind of the edge right now in Division I. So, with the fact that I say Cass Tech is right up there. I want to say that Catholic Central, who I saw tonight, who won big 49-28 over Canton.
Stevie Walker might have won the war, but
Catholic Central won the battle. And again,
Stevie Walker might have won the battle, but Catholic Central won the war.
Well, the interesting thing is, first half, yes. He had, I think it was like a 65-yard touchdown from scrimmage. He had over 100 yards in the first half. Ended up having over 200 yards, but it was 49-14 at the start of the fourth. Yeah. So, I mean, it really was all Catholic Central.
And if we're talking D1, I'm just coming from, ground zero, the defending Division I champion, Clarkson Wolves.
Yes.
They handled Lake Orion. I know 2 weeks ago, Lake Orion played them real tough, only lost by 10. This game was really all Clarkson from about the end of the second half on. Clarkson had a really big goal line stand in the final seconds of the first half that propelled them to a 30-7 win. The bad news is that Garrett Dellinger is out for the year.
Ooh.
And he's out for basketball season 2.
Ooh.
Had shoulder surgery a couple days ago.
That's not good.
And is going to be healing for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to him.
So it was Rocco Spindler show. Had 8 tackles, a sack, the big 4th down stop on the goal line with about 4 or 5 seconds left in the first half to prevent Lake Orion from going in to make it 21-14. Instead, it was 21-7. Kent State commit Tristan Matson, 3 field goals in the second half, 45, 37, 30. So, you got, when you have the kind of wealth of riches that you have over in K-Rich land, fortunately for them, losing someone like Dellinger for other teams might be a real game changer going forward. And it's still going to affect Clarkson, no doubt, to lose someone, a 6'7", 300-pounder in the middle. Yeah. But they have many other playmakers.
So did they flip Rocco to left tackle? Because he's been playing right tackle. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, obviously, you want your blind side.
And then Brendan Barker, their senior linebacker, who you want to talk about just a huge step up for a senior year. Every game I've seen, he's been, outside of Dellinger and Spindler, he's been the best defender. He had 15 tackles and a forced fumble tonight.
Right. I'll tell you one thing, too. In my game, we had a scoop and score. It was a 70-yard fumble recovery. Actually, CC did it twice. It was Brewer.
Oh, Jonathan Brewer.
Yeah, Jonathan Brewer is a 70-yard. It was a cam fumble. Walker fumbled into the end zone in the I think it was the beginning of the fourth quarter. And again, Genrich was field general running, couple of pass plays. The real kind of another thing for the story. Cole Price, 4 touchdowns tonight. for CC. So CC looked really, really good. West Bloomfield apparently looked really, really good.
Yeah, they put a stomping on Plymouth.
Yeah, so both Plymouth and Canton go down.
It should be an exciting district final. West Bloomfield Catholic Central. And again, it's a cliche, but contrast the styles.
Right. Yep.
Kind of more of a finesse team versus a smash mouth team.
Yeah.
Great offense on West Bloomfield's matched with some big time defenders on the other side of the ball against that power attack that the Catholic Central runs.
I was really impressed too how Catholic Central handled Darius Robinson tonight, because that's a big man on that D line. They ran, tall, and he's pretty athletic. In fact, he made a really nice catch playing the tight end position later in the game.
And I think one more thing that was really a positive, a feather in Clarkson's cap is every other game I've seen them, Billette and Honsetter, their 1-2 punch in the backfield, have been the catalysts. Today, to Lake Orion's credit, they pretty much neutralized Billette and Honsetter. They both got off one big run of about, Billette got off like a 25-yarder and Honsetter got off like a 30-yarder. But outside of that, they were both under 75 yards. Jake Jensen threw for $140, scored on a 22-yard scramble, and then hit Josh Luther, another kid that's been stepping up big time as a senior, as both a wide receiver and a cornerback. Luther intercepted Lake Orion in the first quarter, and then about 3 plays later, Jake Jensen hit him on a 60-yard bomb.
Well, I'll tell you, when we're talking Division I, the other team we're going to have to give love is to Chip Valley. We know that. They won 34-7 tonight. They're going to have a rematch with Dakota again. Dakota beats Romeo 21-17. All right. Looks like we have our first coach on the line, ready to talk to us, and it is South Lions coach. There he is. Do you see us, sir?
I can.
All right. Isn't this fantastic? What we can do with technology, it's amazing, isn't it?
Awesome. Yeah, awesome.
Well, you got to be feeling pretty good tonight. Obviously, it's been a storybook season. Just talk about the battle tonight that you guys had, because there were no gimmies out there tonight.
No, not at all. Dexter was a really good team, and they showed up ready to play. It was a true test, and battled it all the way down to the end. So.
You guys have been winning games close all year. I mean, a lot of that 10-0 start is grit and resolve and just kind of intestinal fortitude. Just talk about this group of players. Like we've said in the past, they're not going to wow anyone. You're not going to walk into a South Lion game and see a bunch of blue chippers. They're just good football players, and that goes a long way at the high school level.
Yeah, absolutely. We really do. I think we are the essence of a team. We don't really have any superstars. We had, just like tonight, we had our best running back go down with an injury, and 2 other guys stepped in and filled in nicely for him. And it's just a credit to our kids. A coach a long time ago said to me, winning at the high school level just takes a bunch of kids believing in the same thing, and that's what our kids are doing right now. They believe in each other, and they believe in what we're doing.
Hey, Jeff, was there a point at which you first noticed that belief in your kids?
I think it went back to game 1, when we really were down by a couple scores and just battled back, to win it as time expired. I think that was when I noticed it. And then all off season, our kids did a great job of just buying into what we were selling, and committed to a great off season in the weight room, and even into the summer. So
people don't know, South Lion was 1-8 last year. They started 13 sophomores. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Along those lines. And so, you got more heavy doses of the jungle. Obviously, this run's not over with yet, but you got 13 kids that started as sophomores that will be seniors next year, so you can kind of keep this train rolling no matter what happens in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a really good junior class, and our senior class complements them very well. And we got another bunch of other young players coming up too that are sophomores for next year.
Hey, Coach, we all. One of the things that makes it such a great story is the fact that you had Coach Grignon leaving after the year. He's going over to Wall Lake Western. So you guys, and it was kind of late in the game. And then you guys are saying, hey guys, this is what we do. I'm assuming you guys still shake the milk jugs there, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I haven't been to the jungle in a while, so but I remember that's always the indelible image. So did you see something right away in the summer that, or was there a particular moment this season that you were like, wow, these kids might be doing something really special this year?
Yeah, I think it was the Lakeland game. That was a big statement game for us. And we marked it and made it a statement game, and our kids rose to the occasion. And our word of the week was bold that week, and we were going to come out and make a bold statement that we were for real and South Lyon football was for real.
We're talking with Coach Jeff Henson, the head coach of South Lyon. So, well, Coach, again, a great win tonight. Let's go ahead and kind of look forward. I'm trying to pull up where they're.
I don't know if when Lauren's looking.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you saw this, Jeff, but local media member picked you guys to win the whole enchilada this week. Is that the type of expectations you guys have? I mean, obviously you're taking it game by game, but is this the type of group that is just the epitome of hungry in the playoffs right now?
I mean, I'm going to give you the coach speak. We're taking 1 week at a time, and anybody's got a chance, and why not us? Our kids believe in what we do. They believe in each other, and why not us?
So it's going to be Walled Lake Western round 2. That's where we're going to be, which will be interesting. It'll be at your house. So again, yeah, exactly. And Walled Lake Western, is again a team with a ton of talent. You guys know that. They beat a really kind of surging Fenton team. We talked a lot about what Fenton was able to do against Swartz Creek in their house. So what do you anticipate? Let me ask you this. What about the last time that you guys played? What was the game plan that was so effective that you guys were able to come out on top?
Well, I mean, we were able to run the ball effectively against them the first time around, and defensively we were able to force Sam to get rid of the ball. When he didn't want to, we put some pressure on him, and we were able to make some plays on defense when we played him the first time around. So I think that was the big difference.
Okay. Hey, Coach, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. I know it's late. Big win tonight, so congratulations. I know you guys will be celebrating, and I think South Lyon East won too.
Yeah, they won.
Yeah, so the whole town is celebrating. So.
Hey, football is alive and well in South Lyon.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And the kind of cool thing is that everybody can root, because you're in 2 different divisions. Everybody can root for each other.
They knocked off a league champ.
Yeah, Ortonville Brandon. Yeah, exactly. Now they'll have to go on against Farmington next week, so it'll be interesting. So, again, congratulations, and we'll catch up with you soon. Hopefully we'll be talking to you at Ford Field. How about that?
Absolutely.
Thank
you guys.
At a time. All right, we'll see you, Coach. All
Go
right.
Lions.
Yeah, right on. Take care.
I'm old enough to remember when South Lyon was there in '96.
Yeah.
I think it was not '95.
95. Yeah, that was the last time they were they had a 10-0 start. And Bob Schlosky, the coach the old coach, he was there in the end zone today and kind of watching over. And I was joking with Jeff. I lived in South Lyon for a while when I first moved down here. And when you, at this point in the season, can drive past Irwin's Apple Orchard,
say, most underrated apple orchard in Metro Detroit,
empty, and you go past the South Lyon Hotel, and I'm sure that was empty.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling when everybody is inside the jungle and that place is rocking. And it got going a couple of times tonight when there were some key plays, and it can be a snake pit. We've mentioned that before. That can be one of those places it's hard to win.
I mean, it is. I mean, the tradition speaks for itself.
No doubt.
It's the jungle.
No doubt. And when you're undefeated like this, you can imagine the aura that, you know what I mean, this invincibility.
They're gaining confidence every week.
When Guns N' Roses song cranks up, right at the beginning of the
it's really amazing.
It is.
Not that they're in the playoffs, not that they won a game, but they're sitting 10-0.
Yeah.
Right.
It's one of those
after
things
1-8.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season, I wouldn't have believed it.
Well, and this is the story, and I was going to have Jeff tell it if he had time, but they faced off against Dexter in 7-on-7s. Did I tell this earlier?
That's right. You did. You did. Yeah.
But neither of them thought, we'll
see you guys in the playoffs.
We'll see you in 3 months in the playoffs. But magical seasons for both of them, and Alex Green said it when he, I talked to him right before they were going to play South Lyon. He knew they were going to be better. Jeff said it. We knew we were going to be better for all the reasons that you said, for all those youngsters, all the kids that kind of took a a whipping last year, and then they came back this year with more experience. I don't think anybody envisioned this, though.
I missed what happened with Ian Goins.
Ian Goins got twisted an ankle, and then they finished off the drive when he got hurt, and they had Dominic Santoni came in, and they didn't miss a beat, and then he got hurt. And so they were down to their third string. Mitch Comaris was in, and he was doing pretty well, and I think he got nicked. So it was one of those where
I saw Mitch run against Mott, and he looked good.
Yeah.
So it was Goins carted off, or just...
No, he tried to come back. They taped up the ankle, retaped it, and it was just one of those where you could kind of tell he tried the first drive of the second half to give it a go, and you could tell it was just one. I think it was one of those where he couldn't push off like he wanted to and really plant the foot and get upfield. And that's really, I mean, he's a very shifty kind of one-cut runner, and that's the thing. If you can't make that one cut, then you lose your effectiveness as a runner. And Santoni and Commerce are both bigger guys than Ian is, and more power runners kind of.
Goins is the Phil Stewart of Lakes Valley. I mean,
very
it's almost
much,
like the stories are almost identical, other than Goins was the starter coming into this season. They're very similar build, very similar running style, and I won't necessarily peg Goins as a D1 guy like I peg Stewart as just a supersonic sleeper special for a MAC school to come in and take this kid. But Goins is the type of kid, a D2 program could come in and scoop this kid up. He could be a star in the GLIAC.
Yeah, he had 69 yards on the first drive alone on 5 carries. And it was one of those where he was going to go off. And then midway through the next drive was when he got hurt. They ended up scoring on that drive on an 11-yard touchdown pass. And they kind of, it was one of those where you could tell it's like, what do we do for a second? And so then they threw the ball a couple of times. And then, they reestablished the run. But that's really been kind of their basis kind of run to set up the pass. And they've done a very good job of that. And next man up.
Fracassi does a good job under center for South Lyon too. Connor, it's his second year starting. He's only a junior.
Yep.
So this is the Extra Point Live podcast, y'all. So we are here just kind of doing this thing. We started at 10:30, and you should. Yeah. We want to find out what time. Again, we're going to have a few coaches. We got Dan Anderson from Catholic Central coming on at 11:30, and Scott's going to be texting Kurt Richardson from Clarkson so we can get him on. And you heard from Jeff Henson from South Lyon just a few moments ago, just so we can give you guys something a little different. Something we didn't talk about tonight so far, a little D2 action. Brother Rice beats Churchill 27-14. Yep. And I kind of called that. I had, we liked also Brooks. I
think did we all pick it?
We might have.
I'm trying to remember
I have the panel prognostication right here. So.
They were up that whole game pretty much. Weren't they?
Yeah. You know what? You took Churchill.
Did I?
And so did John. It was me, Scott, and Sean who took that. But hey, Churchill had a great season. So they were going to be a formidable opponent. And Rice, we didn't know what they were going to be. Groves beat Seaholm again, 35-14. So we're going to have Rice and Groves.
That should be exciting.
Next week. That should be.
Would it be the third year they played in the playoffs?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. You have Bedford all over Crestwood tonight, which I think, Crestwood, amazing season.
Crestwood crested.
Yeah, they crested. 55-21, though, in that one. So Bedford drops 55. Franklin beats Roosevelt 38-14. So Franklin, again, a team that got all the way to the state finals a year ago. People forget that.
Calvert Express?
Yes, exactly. So they will take on Bedford in that, and that will be interesting. We'll have Port Huron Northern and St. Clair Shores Lakeview getting together next week as they both won.
Who does King get?
King gets their Division 3.
D3.
King gets Fortson.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
no, that's Division 1. Fortson gets Cass Tech.
They
get the winner of. They get Warren Woods Tower.
Yes.
Warren Woods Tower beat Garden City. Yes, go ahead.
King and Rouge.
Yeah.
You want to check out the highlights right now?
I do.
Let's do it.
All right, so here we go.
So we got some clips here. This is some of the action that took place today between King and Rouge. 7-6.
Manny Fresh,
Yep, there he is, Emmanuel Ferguson, getting the ball deep in for Rouge, and then looks like they were going to punch it in, and they lose it. That's exactly what Walker did against Catholic Central today. So they had an opportunity to get a touchdown there early, didn't get it. Mathis going to the air here.
That was
probably
Finn.
still early. Mathis. Finn, yes, exactly.
They got a great receiving core.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Kidd shooting this game. You always get great footage when you get that. So Finn gets in. or at least you got to. First, it's hard to tell if they're going to be scoring touchdowns. We don't have any script on this, so we're just watching clips. Nice play. There's the touchdown. This game, obviously, at King tonight, a 5:30 start. So, again, though, the final in this one, 7-6. Oh, look at that. That was a great pick.
And lost it.
Fumbles the ball.
And they got the touchdown. Oh, but they got in.
Oh, and that's how they got their 6 points. Didn't get the PAT. Who caught that? Who's 22 on Rouge?
For Rouge.
That was sweet.
See if I can find it.
Yeah. Oh, they went for the fake. They went for the fake to try to make it 8-7. You know, that's not a bad play in the way that you want to try to take that 2-point lead because your defense is playing so well. Look at it.
It's a shame that this had to be a first-round game.
I know.
Yusuf Abdul Aziz is the middle linebacker, or L linebacker for.
Great they gave King everything they could handle.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, you feel bad. I mean, here's Rouge. It's typically a D4 team playing Division III. King, which is typically a D2 team playing 3.
D3, yeah.
And so just because of geography, they meet in the first round. And, you know, again, it's like D1, you know, especially at the bottom half of that bracket, you're going to have to run the gauntlet. You're going to play great teams every week.
D3 is packed this year.
Yeah, and D3 is packed, and you just want to hope that you're not on the Muskegon side. Although I will say this: Muskegon beats East Grand Rapids 42-35. Good game, kind of a scare. We haven't talked a whole lot about Mount Pleasant this year, but we know that they're really good.
The Oilers?
Yeah, and they beat Petoskey tonight 35-6. They're going to take on Cedar Springs, who spanked Gaylord 46-7. So coming out of that, Muskegon's going to play Grand Rapids Christian next week. I don't have an issue that they're going to get through that one fairly easily, but if it's Mount Pleasant and Muskegon for the regional title, that could be a challenge.
Well, and the one thing that we haven't talked about a lot, we've talked so much all season long about Muskegon's enormous offensive line and all of their weapons. The one thing we haven't talked about is that they have given up some points on defense throughout the season. You know, and whether it be, you know, late in games sometimes, as has been sometimes the case, where where they're building depth, but they have had some shootout games where they've had to. Now, that's not if we're looking down the road to a possible Mount Pleasant or Cedar Springs. Both of those, as we talked about earlier, are more predicated on defense. But I don't think anyone's going to totally stop that Muskegon offense. That's almost impossible.
No way. It's not going to happen.
But if you can slug with them a little bit, you have enough.
Give yourself a puncher's chance,
and you can limit their offense just a little bit. You might be getting in a game with them now. Do I think anyone's going to beat them?
Yeah, I mean,
I still think they're the class of the entire
They're
state.
Yeah.
So
I think last year.
I think they could have some scares. Yeah, but I don't know.
Zeeland East could give them a game.
Zeeland East is another team that's got a very good defense.
He scored 56 tonight over beat Stevensville Edgefield 56-7. They're going to face the winner of St. Joseph Zeeland West, which is tomorrow. So Zeeland East in the state semifinal. Should that one happen, could give Muskegon a run, because when you get in the state semifinals, you know what's happening. There could be 7, 8, 9 inches of snow on the ground,
and your neutral site,
So so we'll see how things play out. But Muskegon, the beast.
I heard that in the Adams Lakeland game, Lakeland came out on top. They'll play
in overtime
Clarkston in the district finals. That Adams quarterback Carter Ferris broke his arm in the second quarter, so Adams was without their quarterback for the second half. I believe he's a junior, so he's coming back. I
think so.
Well, some interesting things. Some of the things we haven't talked about. Division 6, Ithaca goes down in week 1 of the playoff. They lose to Millington 50-33. Which is a real shock. Montrose shuts out Hemlock 54-0. So it's going to be two teams that put up 50 tonight. Next week, the M&M will be alive and well. Millington and Montrose for the district championship in Division 6, so that's a shocker. What's not a shocker is Jackson Lumen Christi pounding away. They beat Napoleon 52-30. Michigan Center all over Grass Lake. That's a game you'll see on state champs this week. They win 35-6, so they're going to take on Lumen Christi. That'll be interesting. Brooklyn Columbia Central 61 points tonight over Quincy, 61-27. Blissfield beats Hillsdale 21-10.
I want to give a little. I want to give a little love to not just for his ability on the football field, but for his his quick-wittedness on Twitter. Khalil Dawsey, the cornerback from Birmingham Grove, he's going to Harvard. Really one of the most underrated defensive backs in the state. Really doesn't get a lot of love. I've seen some charts and lists floating around lately of kind of a best of that he gets left off of. But the last couple of weeks when they played Seaholm, I've noticed some of his Twitter exchanges afterwards. And last week, I guess one of the Seaholm players tackled him and says, "I like Yale better." And he's like, that was one of the more original smack talking I've ever seen. And then he says, I'm just reading him now a couple seconds ago. He said that I guess the Seaholm student section was chanting Harvard dropout, Harvard dropout, and he's like, at least let me get there before you start calling me a dropout.
Yeah.
But Khalil Dawsey, he's going over to the Ivy League, and this year he's doing it on the offensive side of the ball as a wide receiver, slot back. He's doing it all. He's really been the motor for that Groves Falcons team this year on both sides of the ball. Him and Damian McCurdy, Marcus Alexander at quarterback. So.
All right, well let's get back to the hotline. We don't have a sponsor for this, so but there he is. We see him. See, Dan?
Dan?
You can figure out technology. It works. Can you hear us?
Nope.
Oh, he's frozen.
All right, we're gonna come back.
He's frozen in time. We will come back to Dan Anderson. There he was for just a brief moment. He does exist. Oh wait, here he is back. There he is.
There we go.
Hello, guys.
We got him.
What's up, Coach? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. Did you have a nice dinner?
Oh yeah. It was very
Okay.
good.
Okay. Good. Good. And that was with your mother, you said?
Yeah, I was with my mother.
That's awesome.
And my brother.
Good deal.
Family celebration.
That's
after
right.
a big dub.
Good
Yeah.
times. Exactly. You know, it was obviously a great atmosphere out there at Tom Mack Field. Tom Mack was there.
The Elm. They call it the Elm.
Yeah, got a chance to talk to Tommy. One of the things I told him I thought I would never see is Dave Sofrin on a CC sideline. So he kind of got a kick out of that. But Coach, tonight, really was a complete effort. I think you had to be real proud of the boys defensively and offensively. What were a couple of the things that really stood out that you were pleased with the execution tonight from the Shamrocks?
Well, I thought our effort overall was really good. I thought defensively, especially against Canton, with their back, number 4 was just. I mean, I don't know how anyone can stop him.
I know.
With the offense that they run. But I thought we did a great job of slowing them down a little bit tonight.
Well, you did, and you also, you forced a fumble in which he fumbled in the end zone there, near the start of the fourth quarter. You also were able to pick up a fumble recovery, and the sophomore ran it all the way back for a 70-yard score. That was pretty cool. How do you feel, it's hard for your team to come back. We know what the Prep Bowl means to everybody,
Right.
And to beat De La Salle and then get them again and then fall in the championship game, it's one of those soul-searching moments for the group. But obviously it was a rallying cry, and to come out and face a good Canton team tonight.
They didn't really have any time to lick their wounds. It's like, we lost and now we're moving forward and we got the playoffs.
So talk about this week's practice and how you guys, felt you had to just pick yourself up and forget about it.
Yeah, well, I think it's tough anytime to play a team twice, let alone to play a team of the caliber of De La Salle. And what we did is we came in on Monday, Sunday.
Yeah, it's okay.
And we met with the team and we said, listen, that's behind us. It's now a 5-game season, and we have to work each week and get better each week and take it like that. So
yeah.
Coach,
well, go ahead.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Coach, I was really impressed talking to some of your senior captains after the De La Salle game, and I was talking to Ryan Burney, one of these kids I've just been very high on this last year too, but definitely this season is such a linchpin in your secondary, playing a little on offense. But he reminded me a little bit, I don't know if you remember, or the audience remembers, a couple years ago, the Green Bay Packers were in a little bit of a losing slide, and they went to Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers was just like, we got this.
Yeah.
We got this. We got this. And I remember talking to Ryan after the loss last week, and he was just like, it's already past us. The game ended 10 minutes ago, and we're not thinking about it anymore. We have a bigger fish to fry, and we're going into the playoffs, and we're going to be focused, and there's going to be no hangover from the CSHL championship going into week 1 of the playoffs, and obviously that proved true. Kind of, talk about your senior leaders.
Well, the senior leadership has been great this year, and again, on Sunday, we brought the seniors in, and we as the coaching staff, had a good talk with them. We like to say the heart-to-heart talk with them. And we always say, what do you want to be remembered for? And we brought that question up again. The seniors, what do you guys want to be remembered for? And we left them alone, and they had their discussion amongst themselves, and they decided that they would come back this week, and they were going to practice hard as they've practiced all year and get ready to play Canton. And then even tonight, after the game, we were like, great game, enjoy the night. We've got West Bloomfield next, and the captains, I heard them as we were walking out of the locker room. They said, well, you got a couple hours to enjoy it, and then we got to work at Bloomfield. So
yeah. Well, there's no doubt because Bloomfield put up 49 tonight too. So it a 49-14 win over Plymouth. It was interesting when you gathered the team together. It was almost eerie in the fact that you're asking your coaches, hey, you got anything to say to anybody? And one of the coaches was just like, thank you to the team. I mean, they pretty much executed exactly the way they were told to. Right. So that's phenomenal. But we'll let you go on this. West Bloomfield next week. I don't know what you know about them. But obviously a team with a lot of talent.
Oh, yeah, a lot of talent. I mean, you've heard all year about the D1 talent that they have, and they're a great team. I mean, they made it to the state championship last year, and lost to Clarkston by 1, and a 3-2 game. But I mean, we know we have our work cut out for us this week. We definitely got to come back on Sunday, regroup, and get ready to play West Bloomfield.
It should be a classic.
Absolutely. It's going to be rough all the way, especially that bottom half of the D1 bracket. Nobody gets a week off. It's going to be great team after great team. So good luck, Coach Dan Anderson from Detroit Catholic Central. Thanks for staying up with us, and congratulations on a big win tonight. I think you guys are now 7-0 over Canton when it comes to playoff games, which is just an amazing number considering, again, how challenging Canton is and how explosive they are. You guys did a great job tonight, and we'll have the highlights this Sunday on State Champs. So we'll catch up with you soon.
And say what up to Nate for us. Nate Dogg, his son, one of the best receivers in the Catholic League.
No.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep. All right. We'll see you, Coach.
Thanks, Ed.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Take it easy. All right. So that was Dan Anderson, the head coach of Detroit Catholic Central. Big win for them, and pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Go ahead.
Emphatic fashion.
Yes, it was.
Didn't leave many questions.
Yeah, you can watch the highlights and see that. Go ahead.
I was just going to go back to something that we were talking about earlier.
Go ahead real quick. We're going to take a break, but go ahead.
Sure. Well, going back to Ithaca being out,
this
is the first time since 2008 they've been home for Halloween.
Wow.
And that was a year that they missed the playoffs. The year before that, they were out in the first round.
Wow.
But the DVC West did not have a good day today. 4 teams make it. Ithaca only lost to PW. Hemlock's only loss all season long was to Ithaca out in the first round.
Right.
Michigan Lutheran Seminary lost to Ubley in D8. Nouvelle lost to Harbor Beach in D8. The whole division, 4 teams gone. So I guess that kind of shows that maybe that division wasn't as strong as maybe we thought it was, because it just got erased in one day, which is bizarre, because I thought, looking at the scores and how they'd done, I picked Hemlock, and I picked obviously Ithaca because of their tradition and knowing what kind of a program that is. But that was just Millington obviously was a very good team that had some tough losses. They lost to Frankenmuth, and but I think you kind of saw that when you compare the TVC West to maybe the TVC East, there's a difference in strength of schedule there.
Yeah, that's it. This is Extra Point Live. We're going to take another timeout. We'll come back. We'll kind of breeze over some of the comments that you guys have, and I know that we're expecting, hopefully,
I'm waiting for you to text me back.
All right. Kurt Richardson does things by his own beat.
So
it's 11:38. Yeah, exactly. He's like, it's 11:38. I am not calling that show. Anyway, we'll see. He might surprise us. So if not, we'll kill this 20 minutes. And again, thank you guys for being with us. Keep the comments coming. We'll try to answer some of these too, but we're going to take a quick time out. We'll be back.
My passion is architecture. I don't want to sit around passively studying. I need to create. In our architecture studios at Lorne Tech, we collaborate with students, faculty, and professionals from around the world. And from day one, we design using the same industry standard software that architecture firms use. I really feel like I'm designing my own future here. Lorne Tech. Possible is everything.
Today we're going to introduce you to the MHSAA's Coaches Advancement Program. 30 years ago, the MHSAA began its first coaches education program to address the large influx of non-faculty coaches directing educational athletic teams. Today, the Coaches Advancement Program, or CAP, has grown into one of the nation's top and first face-to-face educational program geared to assist coaches in their growth and development. CAP gives coaches everything except the X's and O's of their sport, dealing with the practical and philosophical issues of coaching high school sports. Over 3,000 individuals annually attend CAP training sessions, most receiving beginning and intermediate certifications studying numerous topics. But a growing number stay in the program to earn advanced certification and study not just the basics, but current issues affecting educational athletics. If you want to learn more about the Coaches Advancement Program, visit the MHSAA website.
Fundraising should be fresh, flavorful, and simple. We have the perfect solution at Hungry Howie's, Dough Raiser. Your team or school can sell paper pizza certificates that can be redeemed for one medium pizza at participating locations.
Hungry Howie's makes it easy. It's just a little mini pizza box, but we make lots of money, lots of dough.
Go to doughraiser.com to learn more and sign up. Your next fundraiser comes with flavored crust. Welcome to Hungry Howie's Dough Raiser.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the State Champs Extra Point Live podcast as we get into reaction to what happened tonight in the first round of the football playoffs. And I want to get to some of the comments that you guys are making. We're live on YouTube and Facebook. Scott Burnstein, Matt Mowery here. Appreciate the guys coming in. You know, we were kind of what we do here on Friday night. We got the door open because just in case John Kidd, our senior editor for the television show, needs to come in and grab me because I have to do highlights at some point. And but he's going to wait till after midnight. Sean Belizean was here doing his highlights, so he'll be working on those games. But it just kind of shows, you know, this is what we do. I mean, Friday night we're here, especially during the football season, and we're here all night. So
Sean's former broadcast partner on Radio Life of the past is Mark Spindler, the former Detroit Lions defensive end, whose son Rocco Spindler is one of the stars for Clarkson. And
back to Clarkson.
It's always fun back to Clarkson.
I just want it just jogged my memory of something I saw after the final whistle blew. Mark taking Rocco aside and kind of schooling him on some technique stuff, which is kind of cool when you got a father that can impart that kind of wisdom. And it's all positive.
Right.
You know, a lot of times you see dads dads sometimes getting in the kid's ear about, oh, the coach didn't do this and you need to do that.
Right.
But it was
those are usually
cool
dads who didn't play in the
right.
NFL.
It was kind of cool to see. The team was celebrating, and then Rocco had Mark had his arm around Rocco, and I was a little eavesdropping on their conversation, and just was talking, fundamentals on the line.
And I think Rocco's going to write his ticket,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to
Him and
he's
Dellinger
gonna
are
have a lot of options.
Are top 10 players
It's only
in the
a
country
sophomore,
right
people.
now. They're top 10 players in the country, both of them.
That's amazing.
And then one more stat to throw out from that game. Lake Orion is Clarkson's traditional rival, and with this victory, Clarkson is on an 8-game winning streak against Lake Orion.
Nice, which is amazing considering that rivalry over the years. I mean, it wasn't that long ago in our state champs history that
we'd go there and broadcast the last game of the year.
We did the game time live. We do the real game. We do the whole game, and it was like back and forth. It was always
because before Clarkson broke through, Lake Orion went to the state finals twice in 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a couple comments. I'm going to read a few from YouTube. STP77 Rising saying Warren Woods Tower's been under the radar all year, which is true. He said don't count them out at home against King. If King can't put up more than 8 and 7 points in back-to-back weeks, something's going wrong. So
Henry Brown at Woods Tower, I believe.
Maybe
the running back.
Yeah, and he
Okay.
plays linebacker as well.
And they-
he's a playmaker.
They put a lot of points on tonight too. So Grand Rapids, West Catholic, and Ithaca are out. 2 great dynasties end. Again, that's a shocker.
Yeah.
That's a week 1 shocker. E-Course beat Warren Mission Collegiate tonight, which really surprises me.
Shocker. Yep.
55-18 was that one, or 61-18. Thank you, Mega 7 Mile, for getting that in. And I mean, and
Trenton,
some of these guys were having a comment.
Trenton beat Carlson, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Trenton's got a really nice quarterback in Jay Solano, who is a kid that last year I think he threw for 2,000 yards. This year he's over 2,000. I'm not sure what his recruiting situation is, but he's a kid that I could really see blossoming at the D2 or D3 level.
Another interesting note in terms as we get down to kind of some of the lower divisions, Parkway Christian lost tonight.
Okay.
And there is
public safety win.
What? That's a great question.
That's the other side of that same bracket, I
I'm
believe.
Go there right now because I'm looking at comments. Public safety lost to Southeastern, which shocks me, 24-6.
Collegiate, Clarkson Everest Collegiate beat Lakes.
Yeah. Everest Collegiate beat Water for Our Lady, which I think they played already this season.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Collegiate had won that one.
Every year in the playoffs.
Right.
Every single year that
Yeah.
Everest
They used to be
has
the-
had it.
they used to be the
used
same team.
Yeah.
And Reading beat Pittsburgh 65-48. Ottawa Lake Whiteford beat Lenawee Christian 51-14. Lenawee Christian, a good team. Whiteford, a really good team. So at the bottom of that, they're going to be one of the favorites again to get back there. Maybe we're going to see a Whiteford Everest Collegiate, maybe. Harbor Beach won tonight. We're not going to put our thumbs down at the thumb. Good win for them. They're a good program. Ubley beat Lutheran Seminary 30-28. That was a close match. Ishpeming all over Gwynn tonight, 52-6. So Ishpeming,
UP Power,
the Hematites starting out. Iron City beat Rogers City 28-8. Johannesburg Lewiston over Merrill 15-8. So that's interesting. Flint Beecher beats Carson City Crystal 15-8. A lot of low scores here in the lower, which usually tends to be the other way around. Decatur over Climax Scots 29-22. Interesting. Holton over Martin 25-24. Mendon over White Pigeon 8-6. Athens over Three Oaks River Valley 19-6. But Dansville beating Sterling Heights Parkway Christian.
Well, Dansville was that team
Right,
in
we
the
talked about
CMAC
it.
that was chasing PW, and that was kind of a tall task for them at that point.
Right.
But that's still a real good team. That was another one of those teams that kind of had a rough year last year and kind of bounced back and was really making some noise this year. But PW does that to a lot of people.
PW put up 62 tonight over Saranac, 62-14. They're going to have Saugatuck next week. Should be interesting because Saugatuck and Kent City was a good matchup, and Saugatuck put up 49 on Kent City. So that will be an interesting one in Division 7. Division 7, always one of those divisions that is going to have surprises. Madison, of course, beat Shrine tonight, 45-zip. They'll face the winner of Loyola Foley tomorrow. Foley 8-1 this season, a good story. They're really excited about, this is a historic season for them, so they're really fired up.
First time they're 8-1 ever, I believe, but the first time that they had gone 7-1 since the early 1970s.
And the interesting thing is, Gabe, who works here at State Champs, went to Foley, played football at Foley. He's like, Loyola's going to kill us. So he has no faith in his ventures, but we shall see how that one plays out. If Foley should win that game, they could give Madison Heights a run. It'd be the Battle of Madison Heights.
What also would be the battle of one of the most prolific quarterbacks in the state, in Austin Brown, against the most prolific running back in the state right now, Kendall Taylor.
There you go. There you go.
He's leading the state in rushing right now.
Riverview Gabriel Richard over Central tonight. So Central doesn't have a magical run. 38-24 was the final in that one. Allen Park Cabrini beats Community 7-6, so they'll take on Richard next week. Monroe St. Mary Catholic Central, 52 points tonight, all over Sand Creek, 52-34. I mean, they did give up 34. Clinton
put up a 73
over Springport, 73-34, so that's interesting. New Lothrop, 55 tonight over Elkton, Pigeon Bay, Port Laker, and we talked about that.
A couple weeks down the road when we could possibly be seeing a PW New Lothrop game.
That's what we look at. That's what I want to see.
Yep.
That's what I want to see. So we got some games at the top of the bracket. Harbor Springs Roscommon tomorrow, as well as Oscoda Iron Mountain. So that's what's happening out there in D7. We will have some 8-player on state champs next week. There were matchups that I just wanted to wait and see what happened. Obviously, when you look at when you pull up the scores, you're going to get lopsided ones, 50s all the way around. Yeah. Pickford a winner, Sutton's Bay a winner.
It's just a different style of game when you get into the smaller.
And there are so few teams that there are a lot of 4 and 5 teams, and so they've got to pull.
But that's
right.
Yeah. But I will say
that's why the first round matchups
are usually
the first D8 game I've seen of the year was in the Catholic League Championship last week in the smaller division, and it was the best game of the day. It was 36-35. Everest beat Riverview Richard, and it looks like kind of iron sharpens iron for both those teams. And what they did in the first round of the playoffs.
Powers North Central loses tonight to Crystal Falls Forest Park, who again is always great, and that's in the Division II 8-player playoffs. Rapid River beat Engadine 2018, so that was a tight Engadine, whatever. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. Cedarville over Hillman. And Onekama, Tom's hometown now, over Marion 22-6. But Tom was down here.
Tom was
covering for us. He was
at Lakeview.
Yeah, the Roseville game, which was a good game.
Yep.
Which is a real good game.
Yep.
And
his story's on the website already. He told me.
Yeah, Lakeview beat Roseville 41-32.
What was the Romeo Dakota final?
21-17, I believe, was the final in that one. A good battle. I had chosen Romeo, but that's how it was. In fact, if we want to, as we got 9 minutes left to go here, we can kind of go over a little bit of our predictions, because that's always fun. And I was ruling early, but that's changed. Hull and West Ottawa and Hudsonville. Hudsonville won tonight. And I took West Ottawa.
I took West Ottawa.
Yep. And but it was John Kidd, and he was the only one who took Hudsonville.
So.
We all took West Ottawa. Brighton and East Kentwood are tomorrow, so we'll see how that checks out. We all took East Kentwood, although I wouldn't be shocked if Brighton pulled out a win, but we'll see. Davison, Oxford. I took Oxford. John Kidd took Oxford. Sean Belizean is really the only one who took Davison, but Oxford wins tonight pretty handily. Canton and Detroit Catholic Central, we all took CC. Romeo, Macomb, Dakota. I liked Romeo. John liked Romeo. You guys all thought Dakota would pull it out, and they did. Grosse Pointe
I
South
picked Dakota, and then in parentheses I said more Toco Magic.
Yes. Grosse Pointe South was up 17-3 over Fortson going into the fourth. And Fortson came back to win 24-17, so we all took Fortson. Yep. Jenison, Traverse City is tomorrow. We were kind of split on that. Well, Matt and I took Jenison. Everybody else took Traverse City
Central. It's a good Jenison story.
It is.
It really is. Long time, yeah.
Portage Central, Portage Northern. Portage Northern beat up Portage Central. I took Central. You took Central. Matt took Central. It was really Sean and John who took Northern, and they own that one. Dexter, South
I'll admit why I took Central, because I went to college with someone that went to Portage Central, played football at Portage Central, so I figured I'd give him some
throw
love.
the records out the window. Dexter, South Lyon. We all took South Lyon. Went to overtime, though. Roseville, Lakeview. We all took Lakeview, except for you, Matt. You took Roseville. And Rice, Churchill. John took Churchill. Matt took Churchill. We took Rice handily. East Lansing and Hazlitt, we all took East Lansing except for John. He lost that one. East Lansing wins. River Rouge and King, we all took King, and that was a nail biter.
Is this the third or fourth year Groves and Rice are meeting?
Good question. We'll have to look that up.
They've met. I think this might be the fourth.
Yeah.
Harrison and Cranbrook are going to get together tomorrow.
Let me Google that for
you. Are you going to go to that one?
I was.
I'm going to that one.
You're going?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
That's a 3 o'clock game tomorrow, so that's interesting.
Because of testing.
Okay.
Cranbrook's got some pre-ACTs.
That's cool. A little warmer in the day, you know?
Yeah, I got to run to
college
California for a
football
couple
game
days.
tomorrow?
But I will.
What is it? I don't even know. Like, who's the big college football game tomorrow?
Penn State, Michigan.
Is that
tomorrow?
That's
next week.
Yeah, that's next week.
Just two. I mean, third straight year they've met.
Okay, third straight year. Okay.
Claire Manistee we picked, and that's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
Lansing Catholic Olivet, we all took Lansing Catholic. They won handily.
Fighting a Hearn.
Hemlock and Montrose.
I think I'm going to be.
Who won that game? Hemlock or Montrose?
Hemlock got blanked.
Oh, Hemlock got blanked, and I took Hemlock, as did you.
Well, that's what we were talking about.
You.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about with
Georgia.
that TVC West.
Florida, Georgia. Oh, that would be a great game.
I think starting next week.
We all took War Mission Collegiate, by the way,
Yes, we
who
did.
lost to E-Course.
Yep.
Starting next week, I think I'm going to be at
think
Harrison.
The comments were
for the
somebody
rest of
must
the
have been
tournament.
hurt or something that Collegiate would lose that way. They were just dominating.
They were.
And to lose like that is kind of interesting.
And last year they went
I took
to the
Saugatuck. I won that one. Scott, you took. We all three took Saugatuck. John and Sean took Kansas
Orange
City.
Collegiate went to the regional last year.
We all took Whiteford and they won. So that was how we predicted this week. We kind of took the top 20 games that we felt throughout all the divisions. We didn't want to answer them all, but we'll see.
I think I'm going to be at Harrison for the remainder of their run starting next.
Okay.
Next
we got
week.
a few minutes. One question on the thing is, what are our thoughts on Harrison running the table?
I think that now that they're in Division 4, a whole world of opportunity opens up for them. That doesn't mean they're guaranteed to be at Ford Field. It doesn't mean they're guaranteed to be winning a championship. It's so strange the way they
that
did.
wasn't going to happen.
They ended up being in 4 by 2 schools. It was right.
It had to do with who qualifies with the bigger
and,
schools and
where they end up shifting.
They
stuff
were
down.
going to the state trying to get an automatic 4.
Right.
And the state said we're not going to give you an automatic 4. You're 3 until further notice.
Yeah,
and they had a very slim. They had a really slim chance of getting into 4, and they got in.
Scott was asking us how any news on how Fortson came back to win. Well, I can tell you this: I don't have that information in front of me, but I can tell you that the highlights will be up tomorrow on our Facebook, Twitter, on YouTube, so you can check that out on our website, statechampsnetwork.com. And then, of course, you can watch State Champs on Sunday. So we have the highlights, so you'll be able to see exactly how that went down.
I'll tell you one thing that was pretty cool, too, that it looked like, we're talking about Harrison, it looked like last week, whether they got in or not, whether it looked like regardless that was going to be their final home game. But because of the Division 4 bracket, it looks
and
like...
the playoff points.
And the playoff points. It looks like they could have 1 or 2 more.
Go ahead,
the
Kev.
Fortson Grosse Pointe South game, I believe Fortson was down at halftime.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Fortson was losing 7-0. What he
yeah.
was saying is, how did they come back? How did they do it? Because, they were losing 17-3 into the fourth quarter.
That's
and they
correct.
came back
That's
and
correct.
won. So, another question says, do you think if Ishpeming, Reading, and Ottawa Lake Whiteford don't drop to D8, that Breckenridge is the favorite to win the title in 8? But they are. They're all there.
Yeah.
So
it's not.
Could be, yeah. I mean
yes.
Breckenridge certainly,
Yes, to answer your
Breckenridge
question.
is certainly one of the best teams in D8 all season long.
Yeah.
And yes, those other teams did get kind of crammed down.
Yeah.
And that muddies the water. I think they still got a shot.
Yeah,
but
I don't think anybody's going to beat Whiteford.
But Whiteford's going to be tough.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean it was funny. A couple years ago, they great story. They get to Ford Field and they get just destroyed.
Hammered.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Then they have another great year. They go to Ford Field and they put the wood last year. Yep. This year, they've had another great season. They have dominated. I think they're going to do it again. So, that's my take on Whiteford. But I know we got some Breckenridge people out there that are loving it. So, again, I'm just kind of scrolling through. Hey, Corey Parker joined us for a little bit. That's cool, Coach. Sorry on your loss, but again, it looked like it could have been anybody's game there at the end. I don't know if he's still on with us, but he was. Go ahead.
One of the real good games in Division 6 that kind of flew under the radar until somebody pointed it out to me on Twitter was Calumet and Ishpeming Westwood, and they'd met in, I think, week 3, and Calumet won 14-12, and it was literally, it was the closest win they had all season long in an unbeaten season. And the Twitter follower pointed out that Westwood was a little banged up, and then once they got healthy, they had a two-week stretch where they lost both of the regular season games that they dropped, and then they got healthy, and then they just started rolling people. And so that ended up being exactly what we thought it was going to be in a very good game, with Calumet winning 6-0. I mean, that's about as tight as you can get.
All right, guys. Well, hey, we appreciate you guys for joining us tonight as we did a brief recap on what took place from week 1. I don't think we're going to do this again. It's possible we may. I mean, one of the things we do is kind of just play it by ear. Again, we had good response. We appreciate those who did join us tonight. Obviously, if it was like this massive thing, then we would probably do it again. It is a little inconvenient for us, just the fact that we all have duties that we have to do here so that we can actually go home at some point, because some of us have been here since the early morning. So
and some of us have like families.
Yes, I do. And then tomorrow,
kids that they gotta get home.
What we don't know is we got to get up, and Kevin and I, we got to do Indiana.
That's correct.
So we got the Indiana show we got to do. So we'll have games that we have to do.
So exciting.
Yes, exactly.
Indiana's in the second
round of playoffs. Yep. So and actually the big schools now just getting going.
It's interesting how the most or all of their biggest division and half of their second biggest division kind of get a bye in the first round, and then they start their playoffs.
Fewer schools in those.
Everybody gets in. That's how they do it.
And IHSAA, everybody qualifies.
Yeah. So anyway, hey guys, appreciate you guys being with us. We may do this again later in the season, perhaps. Maybe for regional football finals or something. We'll see. But again, make sure State Champ Sundays at 9 a.m. Make sure you check that out. Next week we'll have another podcast. Scott most likely will not be a part of it because he's going to be
in La La Land.
He's in La La Land. He's in L.A. So Sean Belizian said he can be here. So I think what we'll plan to do is probably do a Wednesday morning podcast, and then we'll turn it around and probably get it out probably end of the day Wednesdays, and we'll do a prediction for round 2 and all that stuff. So
I'll send my predictions in via
Sounds
email.
good. Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you guys so much for being a part of it. Hey, maybe we'll even pull you up here on
I can do that.
We can do that.
Let's do that.
If Dan Anderson could do it.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, hey, guys, this has been Extra Point Live. Thank you so much. We will talk again.